remaining in this race. There's action all around, close action all around this top 10. And Yamakoshi, by the way, off screen has actually managed to take Ninovic for 10th position. So Yamakoshi on his debut weekend is now in the points paying positions. But what we really want to look at is this fight. It's Ninovic, Claro and Yamakoshi, and Peebles is in there as well. With the Pelo and Carasquada haven't fallen back into this pack. The number 26 entry, the third car, that is Ninovic. So you got Yamakoshi, then you got Claro in the orange machine, Ninovic in the black car, and then the 88 is Peebles. Claro desperately trying to get 11th place back from Claro. It's not quite happened yet. Or has it? It has! So this battle for just the last point in this race is as ferocious and as tight as most of the other positions in the field. But this battling between Ninovic, Claro and Peebles, Yamakoshi, we're hoping it continues, so that gives him a little bit of room to kind of pull away, to draw away from the chasing pack as Ninovic and Claro fight tooth and nail over 8th position. And this is Rinicella and Stromsted. They're close again. It's only 0.3 of a second. Is Rinicella going to try to go down the inside or maybe even edge on the outside? He doesn't. He sticks to the outside line. Not enough room to get through there, but he's going to switch to the inside of the left-hander, and he will follow Stromsted through the left hand, and then there's going to be a little right turn. That brings him onto the start-finish straight. The gap is 0.3 of a second, but can Rinicella stay close enough to Stromsted to actually make the position? Stromsted goes to the left-hand side of the circuit, tries to break the toe and actually break the corner entry. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. And Rinicella has gone clean off the circuit as Stromsted came across. Rinicella had to really kind of make a move to avoid. It was a last-second avoiding action kind of move. It wasn't going to be an accident, but I think he may have got the frighteners a bit, and it took him off circuit. He's probably lost quite a bit of time with that. As we see Christian Ho and Enzo Deligny, the gap is still just under 0.8 of a second. Rinicella lost a second going off track in turn 1. That's given Stromsted a bit of a gap. I don't think for a second there was anything particularly untoward there. The fact remains it really put Rinicella off his stride. And cost him quite a lot of time. Christian Ho continues to lead. He's led every single second of this race so far. And while he's had Enzo Deligny right there, the gap varying between 1 second and 0.5 of a second, he's never really looked as if he's been under terrible pressure. The gap now, for the first time in this race, extending out to beyond 1.1 seconds. Stromsted, the white car at the top of the machine, at the top of the screen, is in 3rd position. He has a 1.5 second gap over Rinicella now. And Zari in 5th. In fact, if anything, it's actually closer to Rinicella than Rinicella is to Stromsted. But there's still time. There's still 12 minutes plus 1 lap remaining in this race. Still plenty of time for plenty of action. And just mentioning briefly the fight for positions we were talking about only a few moments ago, Yamakoshi in 10th position really has actually broken the back of the chasing pack. Claro is up to 11th place. And he's 1.5 seconds behind Yamakoshi, but Claro is still, as Ninovic, kind of in the background, with Noah Lyle in 13th now, who has passed Jeff Peebles, driver we saw on screen there, the number 14 a few moments ago. Alex Zari, 5th position, started 3rd. I think it'll be a pang of disappointment there. Rinicella, who started 4th, fell down the order small, but is back up to 4th, but the real winner today has been Noah Stromsted, who's made several positions early on the opening lap of this race and has really solidified his podium drive so far, but there's still a 1/3 of this race remaining. Theo Neal, who's got a gap of 0.6 of a second over Andres Cardenas, the Peruvian, making his debut in Formula 4. Well, just generally car racing in total this weekend, and he's done a fantastic job so far, qualifying in the top 5 in this race and currently running in 7th position. I mistook his difficult start in the opening lap for Stromsted's really good start, but you know what? It is a fantastic drive either way. But you can see in the middle of the screen now, Theo Neal is under pressure from Cardenas. Will Cardenas get close enough to make a move down the inside as they come down the start finish this back straight? I doubt it very much, but he's got the opportunity to close up through the chicane and through the last couple of corners to get him a drag, get him a drive down the start finish straight to maybe take 6th position. They go left, and then it's a little bit of a lumbering right-hander. If you really get on the throttle, maybe just delay it a little bit, you can get a really good drive as they come through the left-hander, brings you onto the start finish straight. He's probably fallen a little bit too far behind to make a move coming into the left-hander in turn 1. It's just all about just individual tenths of a second. The gap is 4 tenths between Neal and Cardenas. It needs to be almost 2.5 tenths or 3 tenths of a second to even get a sniff of making an overtaking move coming into turn 1. And even making the move into turn 1 can be an absolutely ballsy affair that lasts several corners. It's not something that's a lot often really ever one and done. You're more likely to actually make a mistake in turn 1 than you will to actually make a big move. But one driver who's making a big move, I can tell you, out front is Enzo Deligny. The gap now down to 5, just under 5 tenths of a second. He set another fastest lap, 2 minutes, 0.362. 4 tenths, actually 5 tenths of a second exactly quicker than Christian Ho last time around. And the fight really is on for the lead of this race. Christian Ho, for the first time in quite a while, is under a little bit of pressure. Coming out the right-hander is going to be a short shoot onto the back section. You've got a chicane, a right-left chicane, takes you onto the back straight, but will Deligny be close enough to make a move to take the lead away from Christian Ho? Christian Ho realizes and understands the threat, starts weaving across the circuit again to try and break the toe. As we see the back of someone's neck. And Deligny on the back straight coming towards the end. He's not quite close enough, but he can set himself up through the chicane and the last corner to possibly get a trap down the start-finish straight. Again, it's a left and a lumbering right. And then it's going to be a little short shoot and then a left-hand bend, a left-hand kink. Again, you can keep the throttle right down most of the way through there, but is it enough? As we see, that is De Palo and Carasquara fighting hard and very, very close. That is for 8th position. And the gap out front is 3 tenths of a second. Assuming in the course of this race that Deligny did not make the move to take the lead of this race. We're concentrating at the moment on this battle over 8th position. The lower points orders are still important points. De Palo, of course, started 12th position, having won the last race in Spa, courtesy of the stewards, but still well worth, very much a worthy win. But he's under pressure now from Carasquara. And De Palo technically is the leading rookie in the championships, 3rd in the standings at the moment. He'll probably drop down the order significantly with this. And I'm told Fernando Barrichello has gone into the pit lane from 28th position. Six minutes plus 1 lap remaining. Carasquara really pressing De Palo, forcing the issue, or attempting to force the issue to get just more points, and that is Barrichello getting out of his Motorland Motorsport entry. A tricky start to the season for the youngster. His father, of course, the famed ex-Ferrari and Stewart Grand Prix driver, but out front you're still seeing Christian Ho fending off Enzo Deligny. The gap is 0.4 of a second. Deligny stuck his car out coming down the start finish straight. Not really a serious notification to try and make a move, but it was enough just to remind Christian Ho that he's there, that the pressure's still on, that Deligny has not gone away. This Intercampos battle is still very much alive and well. The gap is 0.4 of a second. Deligny really needs to make a move. He's stuck at the moment, absolutely stuck at the moment. He's just seeing the back, he's seeing the gearbox in Christian Ho, and he's almost getting mesmerized. He's almost getting locked in to that rear end of his teammate. And it's, once you get locked in, it can be very, very difficult to get out. You need to really make a darting move or even drop back slightly, then force the issue once again. But he's not got much time left. 4.5 minutes plus 1 lap in this race is remaining as they come over the top, the crest of the hill, Christian Ho, and into the left-hander. And they're all sliding hard. Christian Ho's been doing that a lot, but sliding very hard. And now it's going to absolutely waste your tyres. And he may be okay now, but you got to hope that his tyres remain alive and well coming into these final laps. There's enough of a gap coming down his back straight for Christian Ho to not really worry significantly about Enzo Deligny. And just behind them, you can probably see coming into shot now Noah Stromsted and Valerio Rinnicella. Rinnicella has got that gap back down to 0.9 of a second. Still not enough to really terribly threaten Stromsted for third position, but he's going to try and edge closer and redo that move once again as this race comes down to its closing laps. Meanwhile, Christian Ho comes out of the final corner on a start-finish straight. The gap is 0.6 of a second. Absolutely no way is Deligny going to be close enough to make a move there, but he can pressure Ho to maybe make a mistake, to maybe lose time, to give him an advantage. We've just seen the battle off screen there. Again, DePello and Carasquano. Then a gap, you got Yamakoshi, who's in 10th place. Just behind him, Petroclaro has actually closed the gap to 0.7 of a second. And that is the battle over the final points paying position in this race. Let's see. DePello and Carasquala been very, very, very close for much of these last few laps. We've just seen Stromsted, Rinnicella, Alazzari. Then you got Neil battling hard to keep Cardenas at bay. Then it's 7 seconds you got to wait before DePello and Carasquala to come into view. Then you got another 5 seconds before Yamakoshi comes into view. And the gap out front has extended again to 0.8 of a second. Both the leading runners have been pushing incredibly hard in this race, and one wonders maybe if they're reaching a point where they maybe pressed a little bit too hard. And they're losing the absolute best life of the tyres. They've lost the absolute best life of the tyres, but both of them are pushing as hard as each other. The gap is 1 second. And I just wonder this might maybe it's now with only 2 minutes and 1 lap remaining. Maybe it is now Christian Ho has finally broken the back of this race, has finally fended off Enzo Deligny. And so it is DePello in 8th position ahead of Carasquada. Then you got a gaggle of cars. You got Yamakoshi ahead of Claro. Then there's a little bit of a gap to Ninovic, and then you got Barrio ahead of Lyle, Grazia, Peebles, Amplakova. And then Morano as they come into the end of the back straight and towards the chicane. And Deligny's laps have just dropped into the 2 minutes 1 bracket. So that makes me wonder if he really has actually potentially lost the best of his tyres. And if that is the case, really it can be just bring it home. The gap between Deligny in 2nd place and Stromsted in 3rd is just over 4 seconds. There's no threat from behind. See Noah Lyle coming into picture now. He's got Riccardo Grazia just behind him. That is a battle. Oh, that's Alazzari! That's Alazzari! And his car comes to a halt. And from 5th position, Al-Azzari, his day has done. He's clearly disappointed. Remonstrating with himself and probably remonstrating with whoever's on the other end of the radio. And that probably will maybe, because he's on a live circuit, that will probably bring out the safety car, and it may well actually just bring this race to a close. But I mean, either way, there's really only one lap remaining in this race. So now Christian Ho leads from Enzo Deligny. Noah Stromsted is in third place ahead of Valerio Rinicello, who is fourth. Tiafi O'Neill is fifth position ahead of sixth place Andres Cardenas. Matthew DePello is seventh ahead of Jessica Esquada. Ninth is Yamakoshi, and 10th is Pedro Claro. And that is the final point Spain position. Had no indication of a safety car. And this is the final lap of the race, so I'm hoping that maybe they have just cleared Al-Azzari very, very, very quickly. I see on screen that is Deligny, who's driven a very, very good race today. The gap to Ho is 7/10 of a second, but it's too much to really make the move. Incidentally, I just actually noticed a message on screen, and actually Al-Azzari was lined up for a penalty anyway, 2-second penalty for track limits. But as is Eric Genet, down in 20th position. But that matters little to these two drivers you see on screen at the moment. Christian Ho has been absolutely imperious in this race, driven superbly well, managed this race, managed his pace, managed his tyres, and also managed his Campos Racing teammate and rival Enzo Deligny just behind. In third place and fourth place, just on screen, is Noah Stromsted and Valerio Rinicello. Brilliant start from Stromsted. Brought him really into that podium battle, and he's been there ever since. But it's for Christian Ho, the driver coming through the chicane, and takes the last left-hander onto the start-finish straight, and takes the checkered flag to actually claim his first car race win. A fantastic effort for Christian Ho. And Deligny is being registered as the race as a race winner. And that, yeah, so a penalty has now been applied. A 2-second time penalty has been applied to Christian Ho. And Enzo Deligny has won the race. Well, it's not the easiest way to win the race, not the best way to win the race, but it is a race win regardless. And so, also issued with a penalty just on the last lap was Carl Bennett. Again, 2 seconds. And Jessica Esquada also has a 2-second penalty for track limits. And Enzo Deligny takes his first win in Formula 4. Not the most ideal scenario for it to happen, but it is done. And Christian Ho will take second place. He'll be disappointed with that because his drive was absolutely fabulous. Well, it has been a fantastic effort by all the drivers up front. And Deligny drives to the number 1 board. And Stromsted takes another podium. And Ho can at least be proud of his efforts today. As I said, he's driven absolutely fantastically. He will, of course, be desperately disappointed. But his actions on track were superb. His manner of driving on track was superb. And he did what he had to do. It was unfortunate to have claimed the penalty in the meantime. There's Noah Stromsted in the background. Will Enzo Deligny taking the plaudits. Matteo De Pello coming up to congratulate the race winner. That was a good effort by the Dane as well to fend off Valerio Nicella. And it's a rookie winner in this race. So Deligny will be top step and 2 podiums. And Andres Cardenas will be second in the podium standings, with Matteo De Pello taking the last spot in the podium standings. He finished 8th. We'll see some of the highlights from this race. Christian Ho led from the start. And Cardenas lost a couple of positions on the opening lap, whereas Stromsted, his teammate, shot up the order. Alazzari battled hard with the likes of Ninovic for a while, but Ninovic then fell backwards, while Theodore Neal initially fought with Nicella, who then went on to chase Noah Stromsted. There was fights in the pack between De Pello, Claro, Carasquada, and several others, Yamakoshi as well. But Yamakoshi eventually taking 9th position ahead of Claro to take points on his opening race weekend. Claro will actually probably be disappointed, I should imagine, having had such a successful round at Spa. 2 wins and a 2nd position. It's more of a bump to reality this time round at Motorland Aragon, dropping down to 10th
Enzo,
position after starting 12th.
First race here in Motorland and first win in the weekend and in the championship. How do you feel?
Oh yeah, I feel great. It's a really good feeling, and yeah, I'm really happy. The speed was very good, so yeah, I thank my team, Campos, my family, and my sponsors.
And what do you expect for tomorrow?
The pace was really good. It was looking really good today, so I think for tomorrow we'll make a couple adjustments, and we should be very strong tomorrow too.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
A race winner there. Fantastic effort, and full points to him. Also a point for the fastest lap. But you see confirmed Enzo Deligny winning the race from Christian Ho. Deligny getting the point for the fastest lap. Noah Stromsted taking 3rd ahead of Valerio Rinnicella. Theophile Neal 5th after the car failure, mechanical failure for Alazzari. Then you had Cardenas, Carasquada, Matteo De Pello, Hugh Yamakoshi, and Pedro Claro rounding out the top 10. Ninovic, whose race has started well, ended up outside the points ahead of Noah Lyle, with Ricardo Grazia climbing up the order to finish 13th. Griffin Peebles had a solid run to 14th place in his 2nd weekend in Spanish Formula 4. Luciano Morano came home 15th ahead of Alexander Apsakova, 16th, and then 17th for Theodore Jensen, 18th was Carl Bennett. 19th was Eric Genet, ahead of 20th place Pablo Sarrazin. Juan Cota was 21st, ahead of Flavio Oliveri, Alvis Rodella, Georgi Zurawski, Lynn Hodenes came home 25th, and then Maximiliano Restrepo was 26th, ahead of Federico Alrifai. 28th was Alessandro Selvaggi, and then right at the end, there was car failures or mechanical failures, we believe, for Chiano Alazzari. Geronimo Berio dropped right down to the order very, very late on, and Fernando Barrichello and Daniel Nogales pitted with issues to retire from the race. And so we see the Motorland Aragon circuit readying itself for the final race of the day. And it's a very, very, very warm day at Motorland Aragon. Still kind of in around 26 to 27 degrees Celsius. Nice and balmy at the circuit. And we're waiting now for the podium celebration for the top three in the race, and then of course for the top three rookie drivers. I do believe Eurocup 3 is following directly on from Spanish Formula 4. Do tune in for that. I'm sure we'll have some terribly exciting racing as well. That too was also fantastic at Spa-Francorchamps a few weeks back. And drivers now getting very quick debriefs, getting a swig of water, toweling themselves down as they ready themselves to go into the podium celebrations. And we're watching the field for the next race get itself ready. In the end, must be noted that last battle between De Pelo and Carrasquara ended in very, very close, almost across the line. And I think De Pelo may have got that final position based on Carrasquara getting a penalty. You see the middle driver there, that is the race winner, that is Enzo Deligny. Christian Ho, clearly disappointed on the left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side, Noah Stromsted. And we're waiting now for the French national anthem. Well, what we're really listening to is the cars in the background, which is a lovely sound too. This trophy for the winning constructor, Campos Racing. And trophy for the third place finisher, Noah Stromsted. Very nice trophies, I must admit. And the trophy, the silver trophy there for the second place finisher, Christian Hope. Doesn't fancy celebrating. And the gold trophy for the race winner, Enzo Deligny. Holds it high. Did what he needed to do. Didn't need to overtake Ho for the win in the end. Track limits took care of that. And for now, for the race winner, the French national anthem. And so the French national anthem rings out. Deligny gives the celebratory sign. And now the drivers close in for photographs. Christian Ho, he's naturally disappointed. And it's every right to be disappointed, but you know, I think he'll look back on his drive today, the actual performance, and think, actually, you know what? He did everything he needed to do to win this race. And oh, very, very sluggish with the champagne. Oh dear, I was hoping for a show. We'll have the rookie podium in a few moments' time. Which was also won by Enzo Deligny. With Andreas Cardenas and Matteo De Pello finishing out that podium. Yeah, it's Cardenas on the left-hand side, his first ever race weekend in Formula 4. On the right-hand side is De Pello. And Deligny returns. De Pello gets the bronze podium and a handshake. Cardenas gets the silver trophy and a handshake. And once again, for being on the top step of the podium, Enzo Deligny gets the gold trophy and a handshake. And everyone else gets an extra handshake. And there'll be some more photos for the rookie podium. Smile, chaps. And so, thank you very much for watching this first race of the Spanish Formula 4 weekend here at Motorland Aragon. We will be back tomorrow morning for race 2, where provisionally Christian Ho starts on pole position again. It has been a wonderful afternoon bringing this action to you, and hopefully we'll have more action tomorrow as well. Until then, for Spanish Formula 4, my name is Leo Gorman. Thank you and goodbye.